Hello everyone, this is D'Aquilyn and welcome to Sacred Self-Love Sundays. I'm so excited to be here with you today, presenting you with some information and hopefully inspiration in your self-love journey. I want to talk today about the topic, you are the gauge. You are the gauge. And in the spirit of my late grandmother, I'm going to say this. I reckon I won't be long today, but you just never know. I don't have a whole lot that I think I'm going to share, but sometimes when I start talking, more comes out than I expect. But I want to talk about you being the gauge of your life, because guess what? You are. You are the gauge of your life. I want to begin by talking about the law of polarity, and we know what the law of polarity is, meaning that for every one thing there is a polar opposite. And for the examples that I want to give you today, you think about God, good, devil, evil. Also, you have love, and the opposite of love is hate. The opposite of faith is fear. The opposite of sad is happy. Everything has a polar opposite. Even you have a polar opposite. You are pardon me. Let me get myself together. You are, masculine and feminine. You are you are spirit, you are ego. These are all polar opposites, but they still make up one you. And when you think about polarity, what that means is they are opposite spectrums of the same pole. Opposite spectrums of the same pole, which means the pole itself is one. And you have the ability, we all have the ability to travel the polarities at will, and make up our minds in whatever it is that we choose to live while we're here on this earth. So you being the gauge means that you are the one that's in control. You are the one that determines where you want to travel on the poles of your life. Whatever it is that you experience, all the things that you come in contact with by way of experience, they determine, or you determine rather, how you're going to allow those things to affect your life and affect where you are on the pole. I think about the gas gauge, the fuel gauge in your car, and you have full and you have empty, and that gauge is what tells you where you are when it comes to your usage, where you are. So if you start the day on full and you drive 100 miles, maybe you're going to be on half full by the time you finish that 100 miles. Well, you have to determine from that space, am I going to fill back up, or am I going to stay here and just go down to empty? That's the part where you are. So when it comes to the polars, when it comes to really being the gauge of your life, you have to really gauge yourself. And what that means is you have to be mindful of where you are, and you also have to be mindful of why you are where you are. Sometimes we are in places in our lives because of programming, because of conditions, because of agreements, because of so many things. And then also too, another part of it is because we chose to be there. Like, that was a choice that you made to be wherever you are. Maybe you chose to be angry and you chose to lash out because of your anger. That is a decision that you've made. Now, another part of the gauge is sometimes it's our subconscious mind, what we've programmed in our conscious mind, that what we consciously chose, rather, that programmed our subconscious mind, meaning that you made a decision that this is how I'm going to live my life. And I'm going to go for it. I'm going to go after my dreams, my goals, my aspirations, and nothing else can come in the way of that. And because of that, there are certain things and certain ways of living, moving, being, and having that you won't engage in because you made a decision and you programmed yourself, you programmed your life, but you also programmed your subconscious mind to live that way. So when it comes to the poles, you truly are the gauge, and you truly are the determining factor in whatever it is that you want and however way you want to live your life. Now, here's the thing. What happens is we allow conditions and situations. I talked about this last week. We allow conditions and situations to bring us down when the goal is to always be up. Or I'm not going to say the goal is to always be up. Whatever your goal is for your life is what your goal is for your life, okay? But we allow conditions and situations to take us off the path of whatever that goal is for our lives. And what we usually do is we feel bad, or we feel angry, or whatever emotion that you have, because you are no longer in the I'm going to call it purpose. You're no longer in the purpose that you set for yourself. And because of that, I want you to remind you that you have the power. No one else, no one else, no one else. You have the power to change your life. You have the power to recalibrate to your purpose. You have the power to restart, or to move into the purpose of your life. And in order for you to do that, you're going to have to set your I'm going to call it spiritual, mental, emotional, let's call it thermostat. And what that means is, just like in my home, I have my thermostat, it's now in the wintertime set on sometimes 77 or 78. Whenever it gets below that thermostat it kicks the heater on, and the heater makes it come back to 77 or 78. And it's the same thing with us. We have to set our spiritual thermostats, our mental thermostats, our emotional thermostats, our financial thermostats, our marriage thermostats, your parental thermostats, whatever aspect of your life, you're going to have to put that to a certain degree or dimension or level, and make sure that you make conscious decisions to live there. I believe that this comes by way of, number one, being aware. You have to truly be aware of where you are in the spectrum. So you have to, number one, be aware. Being aware simply means you pay attention. Like, I pay attention to everything and every person, every way I feel, everything that makes me react or act a certain way. I pay attention to all of that. So awareness is the first thing. The second thing is to make a decision that, okay, I decide that this is where I want to live my purpose and how I want to live my purpose. And as you begin to do that, as you begin to live it, as you begin to be it, as you begin to do it, as you begin to have it, what will happen is you will become acclimated to that, so that, just like the thermostat, if anything comes below that, if you feel your energy going down, if you feel that dream or that marriage or, whatever, the career or whatever, being compromised, you automatically lift yourself up to that level. So it really comes with, again, awareness and you making a decision. And in making that decision, you don't allow anything or anyone outside of you to come in to shift that or change that. I believe another part of it is, and Jay Ellis talked about this on his live today, disciplining yourself to continue to stay at the same level and not allow yourself to go in any or not to allow any variances to take you off that level that you set yourself on, that purpose that you set yourself in. I'm going to say it that way. That discipline, what it means is I choose to, going back to decision, I choose to allow myself to have the structure around me that supports me in this thing, whatever that purpose, or whatever that, you know, that level that you're wanting to be on. It really is putting together some structures in place. And as you put together structures in place, and I'm not talking about just outer structures, but also inner structures, that I choose not to allow this to control how I feel. I choose not to allow what that person does to make me do or say anything. A perfect example was I was having a conversation with someone a few days ago, and I could feel the conversation going down. And I just chose to start talking about something different and raising the conversation back up to where it was. But it's the same thing with your life. When you have that discipline, you easily identify when things are out of alignment, and then you can do what it takes to get back into that alignment. But what Jay was saying earlier was discipline comes with having, you know, mentors or teachers or someone around you that can help you to stay on the path that you are choosing to stay on for your life. That goes for maybe having a life coach or spiritual teacher, a pastor, or even a friend, someone that can guide you in the thing. That's why it's important to have mentors for certain areas of your life. So if you're wanting to manifest a certain level of financial freedom or whatever, it's important to have mentors that's been there, done that, because they can tell you what the disciplines are to have the thing that you want to have, or to stay at, or to go to the next level of whatever it is that you're wanting to have for your life. So it's awareness, it is decision, it is discipline, but it's also allowing yourself the space to grow. Allowing yourself the space to grow. Being the gauge means that I am aware, yes, and I choose, and I am disciplined, but also I give myself grace that in knowing that right now I may not be where I want to be, or maybe I feel, like I said, lower on the thermostat than I was before, that I allow myself the space, the energy, the time, and even the loving yourself enough to get to where you want to be. And so when you are truly allowing yourself to be the gauge, you'll understand that no one and no thing can really affect you apart from what you allow. One of the biggest things that I had to go through and realize for myself back in 2014, January 2014, I took Lisa Natoli's 40-day program based in A Course in Miracles. And before then, I had been reading A Course in Miracles, but that was my initiation, for lack of a better term, in the work of A Course in Miracles. And I remember one of the things that I'm going to say my greatest revelation in that was because it was talking about the grievances that we have with different people, and you had to list your grievances. And I remember listing all these grievances I had, and especially with my late sister, because there were certain things about our relationship that, although we had a wonderful relationship before she passed, it was still some stuff, some issues related from just years of things that I could talk more about maybe in another time. But I remember listing all of these grievances, and at this time she had been passed away right at 3 years. And I remember 2 years, 3 years, either way. But I remember feeling so terrible about her, thinking that, you know, she did this and she made me feel, and she did this and all this stuff. And what it turned out to be was I had to really go within and realize that she only did what I allowed. You know, I allowed her to make me feel this way. I allowed her to treat me this way. I allowed her to say these things to me. And so I said all of that to say that when you realize that you are the gauge, then it really gets to a place where you understand and you know that you're the one that's in control of all the things that's happening in you and around you. You are the one that can control how that person speaks to you. You are the one that controls how you get stuck in traffic and someone, where someone cuts you off in traffic, and you are the one who controls how that determines your day. It's not that person, it's not that situation, it is you. You are the gauge. And because you are the gauge, then you are the one who determines. You are the one who determines. You truly are the determining factor in your life. And if you would take time to sit with that and ask yourself, ask yourself two questions. Where am I? Number one. And number two, what have I allowed to... Okay, 3 questions. Where do I want to be on the gauge of life in your purpose? Okay, where do I want to be? That's the first question. The second question is, where am I now? Where am I now? And the third question is, what have I allowed to get me to where I am? And what am I allowing or not allowing even, because there are some things that we want and don't allow. What am I not allowing to get to where I want to be? Whether that's emotional, maybe you want emotional peace in your life. And right now you are in the middle of having that emotional peace in the lowest place that you've ever felt or lowest place that you've ever been. And maybe you're in the middle. This is where I want to be. This is where I am. What have I allowed to get me to here? But also, what can I allow or not allow to get me to where I want to be? This is a part of you being that gauge. I actually had a conversation with God yesterday, and I just broke down crying because I didn't realize that there was a certain condition in my life right now that, as much as I love, it also takes me away from a goal and a dream that I have that I'm working towards. And I had to just break down to God, and I just said, I need you to help me. I'm calling on God within to help me to be the balance that I need to be right now, so that I can do both, so that I can do this one thing and work on my goals and my dreams. But no one around me, no one can change that situation but me. And here's another thing too, another key to being the gauge is use your voice. You have to speak up for yourself. Okay? You have to speak up for yourself. You have to say, that's enough. Or no, you cannot talk to me like that. Or no, I will not do that. Or no, I cannot do that. Or no, it is not possible for me to do that. You have to be that voice. I say this to my ladies in Self-Love University all the time, that you are the priestess of your own life. You are the priest of your own life. And what I mean by that is that you are the one that stands in the balance, okay? You are the one that stands in the harmony. You are the one that stands in the realization from what is reality to your experiences. You are the one who stands in the way of that. And by standing in the way, I mean that you are the portal. You are what passes through. This is reality. These are your experiences. And in between, you are the portal. And you being the portal means that you make those decisions, that you become aware, that you have a discipline, that you use your voice, you use your words to say what it is that you want to see and experience in your life. Because guess what? Your conditions in your life listens to your voice, because you have the voice that can change your world. You say, let there be light. You say, I have more than enough. You say, I am healed. Even the Bible says, let the weak say, I am strong. You say that. Yes, people can affirm for us. People can speak life into us. We have to still choose that. If a person speaks bad words over you, you still have to choose to receive it and accept it. If a person speaks good words over you, you have to still choose it, listen to it, and accept it for yourself. So you are the gauge. You are the balance. It's you, no one else. And so I want to encourage you that as you go beyond this particular inspiration and information that I'm sharing with you, I want to encourage you to just take some time, whether it doesn't have to be today, it could just be any time. Take some time to just gauge yourself and say, okay, this is where I want to be. This is where I am. Hey, where you want to be and where you are may be in the same space. Okay? Or this is what has I've allowed or not allowed to get me to where I am. And this is what I'm willing to allow and not willing to allow to get to where I want to be. And if that means that you have to let some people release some people out of your life, then it's going to take that release. If that means that you're going to have to maybe go back to school, it's going to take going back to school, whatever it takes. And guess what? I want to say this. I want to really encourage you in this, because it's easy to say, well, I need to go back to school, and that's a process all within itself. Or I need to do XYZ, and XYZ are the processes all within themselves. You also have the power to receive, access, and utilize the help that you need. Whether that is, I just need energy to get through this day because I do XYZ all day long and I'm bushed at the end of the day. You have the power to access, receive, and utilize help by way of Holy Spirit, by way of God, by way of universe, by way of source, whatever your reference is. You have the power to access that help. So if it is going back to school, you have the power to access that help and strategies, not just the help, but the strategies and the guide, everything that you need to get to where you want to be. There are tools available for you, spiritual tools, but also natural tools. You have tools available for you and to you. And so I want to encourage you that as you move beyond this today, that you really think about where you are, where your purpose is, or sometimes you want to say where your vibrational frequency is, where you are in your spiritual walk, where you are in your life, where you want to be, and also how did you get here? And what can you do differently to get to where you want to be? Because if you are right in one space, there is another space. We never plateau. There's always something to work on, always a new level, a new degree, a new dimension, a new whatever you want to call it. There's always something new to evolve into and to continue to become into. I like to use the word become, to continue to become into, or not become, be into, a new place to be into. I say this all the time about comfort zones, that this is your comfort zone, okay? So this is your comfort zone. When you step outside of your comfort zone, guess what? Your comfort zone gets that much bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. Guess what doesn't change? Guess what doesn't become something new and different? The comfort zone itself doesn't become new and different. It just expands within what it is. It's the same thing with you. As we are being, we are expanding. And as we expand, that's the becoming. It's really being, but it's also expanding the being that we are. Hope that makes sense. So that's all I wanted to share with you today. I purposely left my glasses off because I'm trying to see something. But I want to thank everyone for joining me today. Thank you, Michael Duncan. Sorry about that. Or is that Michelle? Michelle Duncan. Thank you, Michelle Duncan. And Adusu Clement for joining me today. I appreciate all of you for being here. And I want to just say that feel free to reach out to me if you are wanting to just chit chat about anything that I may have said today that was on your heart. Go to my website, www.iamdeaquilin.com, and at the top of that website there's a link that says contact, but also I believe on Instagram pardon me on Instagram there is a link that says email, that you can email me straight from Instagram. But until next week, I send love, light, peace, and blessings to you, and I want to remind you that you are the gauge. Any challenges that come up this week, I want you to take time to just ask yourself, what have I done to allow this to happen? And even not just that. Let me say this before I leave. Also, what lessons can I learn from this that will help me to gauge myself better for the next condition or the next situation or the next thing? Okay. Because like I said a few weeks ago, we're spiraling. And so some things we may return to on a different level. And when we do that, that is our way of evolving and being or becoming by learning those lessons. And then when we return to that lesson from a different level, we can remember. And we can recall and we can recollect, this is where I was, and I remember this is how I got through it. And now I can use the new tools that I've learned as I spiral to this new level to help me in that. So it's not just about, how did I allow myself to get here? It's like, okay, I'm here. Now what do I learn so that I can gauge up? Okay, so that's all that I wanted to share with you. Again, I send love, light, peace, and blessings to you. Take care, and I look forward to sharing with you next week.